Morning everyone, and thank you for taking the time to attend our webinar today. We've got a webinar on lease control, on queries and reports. I'd like to thank anyone that's joining us again and has attended Maxwell webinars in the past, and welcome anyone that's sort of first time viewer of our webinars, and I hope you enjoy it. Today I have with me Dean and Mandy. Dean's the Lease Control product manager and Mandy is an in-house developer here at Maxwell. I'll be handing over to them shortly, but before I do that, I'll be giving you a brief introduction to Maxwell Geoservices in case you've not come across us in the past. And I'll also just be going through a couple of GoToWebinar technicalities. So, like I said, we'll be doing I'll be giving you the introduction. We'll be going through exporting from Lease Control, building queries within Lease Control, and also how to generate reports and create customized reports. So at the end of the webinar, we will have about 10 to 15 minutes available for questions, but also feel free to ask questions throughout the course of the webinar, and you can do that by just writing them in the questions panel on your GoToWebinar window, and we'll endeavour to answer all questions that have been asked at the end, so feel free to pop them in at any time.
Thanks Sophie, and welcome to our webinar today. In the previous two webinars we've looked at actions and how they are automatically generated in Lease Control, and in the second webinar we looked at entering and using lease or tenement data as well as agreement or contract data. Today we'll be focusing on being able to export your Lease Control data quickly and easily. Extracting specific data can be time-consuming and painful process on some systems, while some may not even let you extract this data you need without setting up special reporting procedures, which can take days or weeks. In Lease Control we've made it as easy as possible to extract individual tenement data, bulk data, or any action data, anything that you want to get out specific information from your database. Today we're going to start looking at the actions first, because it's one of the main things that Lease Control is used for, as well as monitoring and maintaining your other data. But so with the actions here, one of the things I've done here, I've just used it as a filter, put the action types. It's one of the main things that people will filter by. You can bring other things up, so I'll just scroll across here. I've got projects. I'll just bring that across actually to here, and I can bring that up now. So if we pick a particular action, I'll just choose expiry here, and then a project, so it's got each of the 27 licenses or leases and then when they're going to expire. So with that information, down the bottom we have these ways of exporting data from Lease Control. In each of our screens, for our lease and agreement browse screens, you can do this same sort of format. So for this one we can just highlight the leases that we want and then click on actions by selection, and we'll try export by selection, so it'll export all that data that we've just done, which it gives you there. So it's given all that information that we just had, the lease IDs, and then the expiry dates when they're due. So you can do that, export it to Excel, and then cut and paste and put it into a nice report. All this information that I'm going to go through is showing you how to export stuff into Excel just quickly and easily, which you can then take out the bits that you want. Mandy will go through in the report actually setting up and using either inbuilt reports or designing your own. So with the action type in the project, you might only want to see certain things, so we'll just change that action that we're looking at, and now we'll look at, say, the rents that are coming up for that same project. So here we can see that some are coming up in the next 30 days, and then one's due between 30 and 60 days. You can see I've got quite a few there for the next 12 months, so up the top here we can put in some date ranges, so I can choose for the next 6 months. We'll just scroll across until end of May, sounds good, and then show, and we'll just go to that one again, which was the rent, and that one. So now I've just got 19, so now we can just do those particular ones, and that way you can export that and then we could email that information to the head geologist, and that way he can use that information to see what's coming up and when. And so I'll just won't worry about that. Another way you can do that same sort of, so I'll just bring these back down, is look at that same action types, is just by clicking in the box on the left, and then you can choose a specific action. So for that rents, we can choose that show. So now it's only showing rent data, and we can now bring that project up, and so then we can look at the same one for those projects. Again, just to delete, if you want to see all of them, delete that date and then show, and it gives you all the ones coming up. So that's one of many ways to get that out. Another one's here, you can do export all actions. You can break it down to particular actions if you wanted to. So now going to some tenement data. You can also do the same in here for your agreements. So if you've got any agreement actions, just delete that and show. Nope. So if you've got any agreement actions, you can do it as well. So now we're going to the lease actions, into your lease browser. So in here we have the lease browser. Again, we've got these ones down the bottom. I'll go into an individual lease first just to show you. So when you're in here, for instance, your actions, you can highlight all your actions in here, any that are overdue and due, and then and then you can export it by selection as well, so you can do it by individual tenements. The other thing that you can do in here is we have an audit report. This is just give you a report on all the various information in that particular lease. So I'll just scroll to the top of that one. So it gives you the lease details, the contact details, commitment details as well, and then actions and a whole heap of other information that's already in for that particular tenement. Some more information that you can get, so I'll close that and go back to our lease. So some of the things you can look at here is, if we just bring a few of these up for filtering purposes, and I'm going to show you the query build as well, where you can build these same queries and build the same queries that we're going to do here, and also save them. So you only have to do it once. So in here we've picked a few different things. So you've got your different localities, status, so we'll choose granted, particular lease manager, and then a project. So again, now you can get all this project information for a particular project, and again, this might be for a head geo to give him all this information that he may need, so he can keep up to date with things. As we scroll across here, so I'll go back this way. As we scroll across, you can see that it does calculations for this particular project. It's saying that there is the current area is 943 blocks. We can also come across, and it says what the commitment is for minimum commitment for this year and for next year, and the rents due for this year and next year. So the other thing you can do is highlight that, as well as the first line with the calculations, and then you can export that to Excel. And that information gives you the calculations at the bottom that we had before. So it's just another way of getting that information out that you may need. So, and there's all various possibilities on how you want to set that up for looking at that information. So into agreements now, just to go through some information on that. Similar sort of thing, layout's quite similar, and we can come in here. Again, you can do your actions. You can also do so we have a couple of things, either a summary report or an agreement report. The summary report will give you all the general details of the agreement, but it won't give you the terms. So if we go here, we have a terms section in LeaseControl for the agreements, and that gives you a summary of the actual terms of the agreement. So whether it be joint venture, meetings or requirements that you have to meet, things like that. So if we do the full report, and we'll choose that in Word. So I'll just scroll back to the top of that one. So now you can see the name of the agreement, its details in here, as well as the contact details and all the other bits and pieces, as well as summary comments, and then the actions due, bit of a history, any relationships to other leases, and then you've got the terms in here as well. So it's just a neat way of exporting that for that particular agreement. So if we come across and just in the browse screen again here, and we can bring up by type, and so with the type here, you've got your different types of agreements, so you can then again pick the ones that you want and then export that selection. So each time it just puts it into Excel. You've got all the headings across the top, which you can then cut and paste the information that you want or filter it if need be. It's just a quick and easy way to get that information to you. Lastly, I'll just show you on the query builder. So all those queries that were running before, you can do similar queries or the same queries in here. So along with that first one that I did in the lease browse screen, I'll just quickly go through here. So we choose the locality or state. So it's just a matter of breaking it down from the biggest points down to your smallest. So I've got that as being WA, and the lease status is, and choose that as granted. Then we had the lease manager, and the lease manager is one of the main filtering points within LeaseControl, and choose that person. And then we had the project. So you can see here we've got multiple, so if you do have lots of different things, you can just choose there to make it a bit easier. And last of all, show results. So we've got that same number of results here. So the same sort of information, you can then highlight that and export it. Once you've got that information and then clicked on your export to Excel, get that same information, you can then come here and save a query. So it's asking if you want to save a query. Come in here, just cancel that, it's done a different one. So you can put up the heading in here and then save it that way. So I'll just show you some other queries that I've got saved. And so all you need to do is load it, click on load. So we'd look at the expenditure for a particular project for the next 6 months, and then automatically puts in that information. Now once you've saved it, it'll save the dates that you put in there. These ones at the moment are as they need to be, but it will be a matter of changing those dates, and then you just click on show results and it'll give you that information that you need. So again, you can just highlight that, export to Excel, and because it's already saved, you can see you can get that information within 20 seconds. So a couple more just examples that I can show you in here that I've got. So I'll just clear that one. Load query. So if we wanted to look at the rents for the next 3 months, so I've got the rents over here, and then we just show results. So it's just another way of getting that information out quickly. So for this, it's just for the prospecting licenses that we've got here. And so that's a quick overview of some reporting and how to get information out quickly. Now I'll pass you across to Mandy, and she'll go through the inbuilt reporter that we have.
Thank you, Dean. Hello everyone. I'm just going to quickly go through the Report Designer and Viewer reporting tool that's in LeaseControl, and then show you the standard reports that are available through the Report Designer, and then I'll go through a demonstration on how to create a rent report. So the report designer and the viewer was introduced in version 1.6.0 in LeaseControl, and it's more of a professional reporting tool than the query builder that we have in LeaseControl. So I'll just show you through here. If we go up to the Tools menu and the Reporter, you've got the options of Viewer and Designer. The Viewer allows you to run off any reports that you've got available. The Designer allows you to create your reports and modify existing reports and delete your reports, and you can also preview your reports through there. So if I just go into the Viewer, first of all, you'll see the 4 standard. There's another one down there that I've created previously, but these are the 4 standard ones that you get with LeaseControl 1.6.0. So you've got a lease expiry schedule, an actions due, an overdue actions report, and an actions complete report. I'll just show you running through the lease expiry report. So on the left-hand side here, you get your options of what you want to extract out, what data you want to extract out. So we've got an expiry date. So maybe if we extract out for the next 3 months, so any leases that are going to expire in the next 3 months. And then we'll do it for locality of WA, and everything else we'll leave as defaults. Set to all for those ones. We'll just get a list of all the tenements that are going to expire in the next 3 months. I'll just show you through some of the toolbar options you have here. Once you run the report off, you can actually export the report to any of these formats here. And you can email straight from here as well. There's a printing option up here as well to print the reports off. So if we just go back to the report designer now, and I'm going to show you through creating a new report. So the designer allows you to create and modify and delete your reports. The report designer has a few more options in the view of the window. So if we go through to the file, and we'll just open up the actions due report that we have, and we're going to modify and save this to a different report and create a rent due report. So the actions due standard template that you're given, if we just do a preview in here, it will give you a list of all your actions due for the date range that you put in down here. So if we put it in for the next 3 months, locality WA, and we'll submit that, you get a list of all your actions due in the next 3 months. So what I want to go through now is just modifying this report into a rents due report. You might just want to see all the rents that you've got due in the next 3 months. So we'll go through to the designer window. First of all, we'll save this report template to another report name so we don't change the standard template that we've got in there. So now we'll just quickly, you'll see that in your reporting when you go through, you can select all the objects that are available. If you double click into it, it gives you the option to change. So if we come down to the action type, the action type is going to be set to rent for all of this. So we'll change this one and we'll make it the rent amount for this report. So that's the heading, but now this is the data that you're going to be extracting. You're going to be displaying in your report. If you select the smart tag up here, this will give you the properties that are available for you for this particular data object. In here you'll have a data binding object. This is where the data is going to be retrieved from in the database. So you've got a list of all of the fields that are available to you from the query. In here you'll just select your rent. You've also got in this smart tag your format string. This one's already been set to your currency. So we'll just do a file save on this and we'll go into the preview and see what we've got. select the next few months. And you can see down here the action description. We'll actually set that one up for rent because that's all we're wanting to get out. So you get a report with all of the rents, the rent amount that's due, and the due dates for the next 3 months. Now what we need to do for this report is to change it to extract the data just for rent in the query that you're getting, so we don't actually have to enter this option every time you run the report. So if we go back to the designer, in the report view you have a smart tag up here that has all the reporting properties that are associated. Now we can go to the edit query option. This is where it specifies where you get the data from, what data you're getting from the database. And that is basically your SQL string, your SQL transact string down here. So if you go into the aliases, we are going to change, we're going to just select out the action types that are associated to rent. So we'll go down to the action type field, and in the criteria we'll enter rent. We'll go OK to that. I'll save that. Now I'm going to go back to the viewer, and we'll just run that report off through the viewer. So we'll check our rent due, select that one. Once you've changed the edit query in your report, some of the options will drop off. You have to go back in and add them back in. The date parameters will stay there. So we'll run that off for the next 3 months. And you'll just get your rents out, so now you don't have to go in and select your rent. So that's your rent report. If you want to be able to see just the days, when the days until due instead of the due date, so it gives you more of a visual view of when your rents are due, you can go back into the designer. We'll just quickly add another field into the report that is a calculated field for your days due, days until due. So to do that, we'll actually change the description field here. That one's just set to rent as well, so we can change that one. We'll do days until due, and then we'll change the data type. If you go in here, you can see that the query has all of these options available, but the days until due field is not in here yet. We need to go and add that into the query. So we'll go back here, we'll go into the edit query, and this calculated field is actually a SQL calculated field, and then we'll just expand that out. If I can get the cursor on there. I'll just copy and paste my function that I've created in SQL and put it into the query. Now from here, if you've done anything wrong in here, it will complain and show you an error, so hopefully we don't get that. No, it's all gone through. So now we'll just do a file save on this, and we'll change this data type. Hopefully we'll have days until due available there. I'll save that, and we'll shut the designer down, and now we can go back to the viewer, report viewer, and run off the report. We'll go back to rent due, select that one, select it off for the next few months, and the days until due are there. Okay, that's the end of my little bit. Thanks, Sophie.
Okay, well, thank you very much, guys, for the demonstration. I hope you enjoyed the webinar.